Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to my channel, Adventures of Gruntman and Joanne. Today I want to talk a little bit about how our country is heading. Uh, what direction are we going? I think we lost our way. It seems like everything our president's doing is hurting us more than helping us. I really don't want to make it political here, but it's time that I think we need to really study who we're putting in as our elected officials and find out what they stand for. Don't just vote for somebody because they're an incumbent and, oh, I recognize that name, so I'm going to vote for this person. We really need to study and do some research and call your candidates that are running for office, whether they're Democrat, Republican, that's irrelevant, but we need to really know what they stand for. Do they stand for God? God is the main principle in our Constitution. I listened to one of our Oklahoma State representatives the other night talking about the Constitution, and our Constitution was written around our Lord. Everything in there, good and evil. I mean, the Constitution does not want evil. It just is not written that way. And our state legislatures run this country. The federal government does not run the country by any means. It's who we put into our state offices that make law and control what the federal government does. Our federal government is outreaching way too above their authority, and we need to rein this back in. So that's where we need to really study your state legislatures and vote for people that will do good for the people. The Constitution was written for us, the people. It wasn't written for the President of the United States. It wasn't written for the senators and representatives. Sure, the state senators and representatives are the ones that are supposed to keep the federal government in check. And we just seem like there's so many people in there now that are not looking out for the people, but they're looking out for lining their own pockets. And this it's just got to stop, because our country will dissolve. We'll be the next China or Russia. I mean, they already got so much influence on us already that it's sad. So we need to really, I can't stress it enough, to research your elected officials. Hold them accountable for what they vote for, because that's the only way we're going to take back our country, is the best way to put it. I'm honestly worried that we're going down the wrong path, and we're going to end up a dictatorship if we don't do something to correct it. Our FBI, the Department of Justice, is way overreaching their control. And I'm not even talking about just the President Trump raid in Mar-a-Lago. I mean, I'm talking about they're just trying to control everything, and the Department of Justice has no reason to do this unless it's something that's threatening our country. They're way overreaching, and we got people heading the FBI. The FBI agents are doing their job. They're just doing what they're told. But it's the brass leading the FBI are making it political, and we need to get away from that. So that's kind of my rant on the federal government. Like I said, I don't want to make it political, but people really study your legislature, elected officials, and vote for common sense people that are looking out for our country and for us people. That's the best way to say it. I mean, we got to get elected officials in there that have the good of the people behind them, not the good of themselves. You know, what can I do to get reelected the next session? I honestly believe we need term limits, but that's out of our control. We can keep fighting for it, and we should. I mean, we should pressure our senators and representatives to not be career politicians. We don't need 40-year career politicians in office. We need to keep it refreshed and new ideas coming in, because that just helps everybody in the long run. And you know, our House of Representatives and Senators right now, some of them have been in there for years and years and years, and they want to write all these laws for gun control and abortion rights. And well, Roe versus Wade was never a law, because the Supreme Court does not have the authority to write law. So when this was written back in the 70s by the Supreme Court, it was not even a legal law. It's up to the states to write their laws on what they feel about abortion. Now, I'm pro-life. I do agree that in some instances abortion is needed. I mean, in case of incest or rape, or the mother's health, if she can't deliver it safely, then yeah, but that should be done early in the pregnancy. We shouldn't have to wait until the 8 or 9 months and then they decide they want an abortion. Like I say, unless it's the life of the mother, then yeah, I mean, that's their choice between the family. But it shouldn't be, well, I want to use abortion for contraceptive reasons. You know, I went out and partied, got pregnant. Oh, I don't want the kid. I understand that we do need to make adoption laws easier in this country. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want kids that can't have kids, but the adoption laws are so tough in trying to adopt a kid. And I think that's something we need to talk to our representatives about also. We need to make that easier. I mean, of course, we've got to have some kind of regulation, but I mean, myself and my wife, if we had a chance to adopt a kid, we would probably do it, but we just know that we would never qualify because our finances aren't enough. So, you know, there's things that can be done to help people that don't want their pregnancy. But killing an unborn baby is not the answer to me. So, yeah. There again, put it up to your state. If not all states are going to outlaw abortion, but some states are going to make it tougher. And here in Oklahoma, you have to have a good reason to get an abortion, and it has to be done early. I don't know the exact law yet. I haven't studied that much on it, but I do know Oklahoma is pro-life state, and I'm proud of that. Uh, Oklahoma's also open carry gun laws, which I love that. I mean, I want the opportunity to protect myself and my family, and I should have that right. Uh, the Second Amendment gives me the right to bear arms, and that's the way it was written in our Constitution, and no law that is written today should change that. If you don't like guns, I say don't have one. But just because you don't like something, don't take it away from me. I mean, I don't like shrimp either, but I'm not going to stop somebody else from eating it. So, and I've been carrying guns since I was 11 or 12 years old. I went hunting with my dad. I mean, I've had, I don't know how many guns I've owned in my lifetime, and not one gun that I've ever owned has killed a human being. So guns do not kill people. People kill people. And all these gun laws that are written today will not stop it. You cannot legislate evil out of people. Evil people are going to do evil things, whether it's with a gun, whether it's with a car, whether it's with a knife. I mean, you can kill somebody with pretty much anything. You can poison them. I mean, you can drown them in a lake. You know, you can't blame the gun. If one example is, if a drunk driver driving down the road causes an accident, kills somebody, you don't prosecute the car, you prosecute the person. So if somebody kills somebody with a gun, why are we taking it out on the gun and not the person? I mean, it's just common sense. We always want to have these gun bans and gun laws. Well, they don't work. Chicago's a prime example of that. Philadelphia is a prime example of that. California is a real prime example of that. California has got some of the toughest laws and most idiotic laws that I've ever heard of, but it don't stop people from armed robbery and murder. I mean, criminals are going to commit crimes, period. Whether a gun, knife, whatever, car, they do it. I mean, but I also agree we need to make it tougher on the criminals. And instead of making it tougher on the honest public gun owner, that I enjoy going out and target shoot. Used to enjoy go hunting. I don't do it so much anymore because I'm disabled. But I don't think we should take that away from somebody just because somebody don't like it. And, you know, that's just an idiotic way to look at things. Just because I don't like something don't mean that you do. And just because I don't like it, we got to take it away from you. I mean, that's just crazy. There's no reason for that. So, yeah, gun laws, they don't solve the thing. I mean, all that is a law on the book, and the only ones being punished with the gun laws is the honest, everyday gun owner. I mean, the criminals could care less. If you had 10,000 laws on the book, it's not going to stop the criminal from doing what he's doing. So that's kind of my rant on gun control. There again, goes back to our senators and representatives. We need to know what they stand for before we put them in office. Our country has to come back on track, is what I'm trying to say. We need to get people in there looking out for the common good of our country and our people. And that's basically, it's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. Our president today, or day before yesterday, whenever it was, had this big celebration on the White House lawn, saying he's got inflation under control. Well, I hate to disagree with him, but me being on a fixed income, I'm not getting by month to month. It's just plain and simple. We don't have enough money to go to the grocery store, so we give up one thing to get another. And you know, our president and our senators don't have to worry about this, but being on a fixed income, it worries me. And it's not just me. There's millions of us that are on fixed incomes that are struggling. I went to Walmart to get some heavy cream, and Walmart didn't even have any. So I went to our local United food store, and they had a couple of pints in there, and it was almost $6 a pint. So I don't know where Joe Biden thinks that inflation is under control. Gas is still $2 above what it was when we moved here to Oklahoma. Well, sure, it's come down a little bit, but it's still $2 above what it was. So he don't think about what's going on in this country. We almost had a railroad strike. They've come to a tentative agreement, I hear. If that would have happened, our country would have been in bad shape. So yeah, we really, and from what I heard, our president didn't even get involved with it. He didn't care if they went on strike because he's pro-union, and well, unions were good, but now unions are too powerful. But that's my take on unions. And there again, I'm not against the unions, but they need to be reined in a little bit, I think. I mean, where do we stop? We keep paying out more wages, so it costs us more for goods. We keep, fast food restaurants, this is one of my biggest things. They want to $15 an hour minimum wage. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but they raise the minimum wage to $15. You go to McDonald's and you buy one of their hamburgers, it's $10. Well, they didn't gain anything by getting a $15 an hour minimum wage, because, well, then most of the fast food places now, they put in kiosks. So yeah, the people that are there got a job, but half of them lost their job. And Biden says that unemployment rate is 3.9%, but yeah, people have to hold 3 jobs to make enough money to combat inflation. So it's just a never-ending thing. And now I heard interest rates are going to go up again, so the housing market's going to take a hit. I mean, it's just a never-ending cycle, and they keep spending and printing money like it's no big deal. We just do a few more $1 trillion. Well, if it was actually accomplishing something with the money, it wouldn't be so bad. But they did all this infrastructure, and I don't see the roads getting any better. I don't see the bridges getting fixed, but they want to push all this electric stuff. Well, here in Oklahoma, between 2 and 7 o'clock, we got to conserve our electricity, otherwise we pay outrageous prices. And in California, if you don't conserve your energy, electricity, they just blackout. You're done until we decide to turn you back on. Well, and then it just don't make sense to go to electric vehicles when you can't plug them in to charge them. And I seen a thing on the news, people waiting for hours to get to a charging station. It's almost like the gas lines back in the 70s. You know, they were a mile long waiting to get to a plug-in. Well, if I'm traveling across the country and have to stop every 300 miles to plug in an electric car, which I couldn't afford if I wanted to, I couldn't afford an electric vehicle. Well, instead of taking a 2-day trip across to go back to California or to go wherever, it would turn it into a 3 or 4-day trip because you're stopping every 300 miles to charge a car. So you sit there and wait to get to a charging station if you can find one. So yeah, I'm not against electric vehicles. I'm not against windmills. I'm not against solar. But we're not ready at this time to convert over to green energy. And green energy, I'm sorry, is not green. It takes fossil fuels to build solar panels. It takes fossil fuels to build windmills. It takes fossil fuels to erect the windmills. I drove a ready-mix truck back in Iowa. We were putting up windmills. We would do 2, sometimes 3 a day. There would be 30 to 40 trucks burning diesel fuel, hauling ready-mix to do 3 windmills a day. And we would burn between 100 and 150 gallons of fuel a day, each truck. So, yeah, it's, you know, green fuel is, or green energy is not totally green energy. And it's not the greatest for environment. Hundreds and thousands of birds get killed in these big solar farms. They get trapped under the solar panels and basically bake underneath the solar panels. So, you know, it's not a perfect thing. There's no perfect thing for producing clean energy. I mean, nothing's perfect. The windmills, the heads of the windmill turbines, there's hundreds of gallons of oil to lubricate them things. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that they're probably a good thing, but they're kind of an eyesore here in Woodward, Oklahoma. You look out in the horizon and all you see is windmills. And, well, where do you stop? Is the whole countryside just going to be all windmills as far as you can see? I mean, so we're going to give up all of our farmland to have windmills? It just don't make sense to me. I mean, we don't build nuclear, and it's probably the cleanest there is. Of course, there's that chance of a nuclear accident, but we need common sense. We need to build them in places not on a fault line out in California where there's a chance for it to have a catastrophe. I mean, we need to explore all options, not just solar, not just wind. I mean, there's other options that we can do along with fossil fuels. Fossil fuels have been around this country since we've had electricity and well, as far back as you can remember. And there's really no proof that I've ever heard that fossil fuels are causing the global warming. I mean, the earth is constantly in change, and it constantly will be in change. The earth has a tendency to heal itself, and that's just the way it's always been. We went through cycles, the ice age before. I mean, it's just the way the earth works. So, yeah. But I do believe we need to get God back into our country. God is very important in my life and my wife's life. We have a wonderful church family, and God provides for us. I mean, He has never really let me down. It might not be the way I envisioned it to happen, but I survive. I mean, sometimes I do without that I think I can't do without, but that's such is life. I mean, it's right now it is hard. I mean, I'm struggling every month. Uh, it adds a lot of stress to my life, but God provides, and I pray to the Lord every day that He leads me in the right direction. I honestly believe that our country will come back to greatness. We might go through some tough times, but we need to stick together as a country. We need to put aside our differences. I mean, I don't hate anyone. I don't hate our president. I don't hate our vice president. I don't agree with what they're doing. I don't agree with their policies. But we're all human beings, and we're all here in the best country in the world. But we're going down the wrong tracks, to put it bluntly. And I just hope and pray that everyone looks at this and decides that we're got to change. We got to change the way we are. We can't stay a country divided. Uh, I honestly was a proud Trump supporter. I would vote for him again today. But he's not God, and he's not all the answers. He had us in the right direction. I didn't always agree with what he said, but I didn't vote for him for what he said. I voted for him for what he could do to turn our country around and keep our country on the right track and make America great. And I mean that was his slogan, and I honestly believe he loves this country and wants to make America the best country that we can be. So, but he's not the only one out there that we could vote for. If he would run again, I would probably vote for him, but there's a lot of people out there I think that would do a good job other than Trump. I think Ron DeSantis is good. I think Kristi Noem up in South Dakota would be a good choice. I mean, what's his name in Texas? Can't think of his name. Abbott, I think he would do good. Governor Stitt here in Oklahoma, I don't agree with all the stuff he does, but he looks out for our state, and we got some good legislature people in the state of Oklahoma that understand the Constitution, and I hope the people here in Oklahoma really study who's going to be voted or elected here in November. From what I understand, we didn't have the greatest turnout in the primaries, but we can still get people in there that believe in our country and get us on the right path. Put God back into our country. Look out for the people and take control of our federal government and get them reined in, because they're just a loose cannon right now. And I pray for that every day. I pray for all of our leaders. on both sides of the aisle. I pray that they do what's good for the country. I pray that God finds ways to their heart that they will see the right way to do this. And I'm not always right. I believe what I believe in. I will defend what I believe in. Uh, if somebody can prove me wrong, I have no problem admitting that, hey, I was wrong. But just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it's wrong. Just because you don't like it, and that's your choice. Like I say, if you like shrimp and I don't, I'm not going to say you can't have shrimp or whatever it is. So, yeah, but we need to come back together as one. And right now, I don't see it happening. We're too far divided as of right now. But you know, I agree that, I don't know how to put it. I don't believe in gay rights as far as gays go. I don't condemn them, and I don't hate gay people, but I don't condone it either. I mean, it's not my choice. If it don't get pushed onto me, I have no problem. I mean, God says no, but I can't control everybody else and how they feel. If I don't know how to put it and sound, I don't want to sound like I'm anti-gay because I'm not, but I don't condone it either. I mean, the Lord says man shall not sleep with man, and marriage is between a male and a female, and that's what I believe. And I don't believe